So here we are at the flea market with a really interesting lot find. These came out of an attic and they were in this bag and they just got dumped out on the table. These are state decal stickers. So you could see this one here, for example. They're nice and vintage. This one is one of Idaho, and it's made by a company called Imco. So there's a whole bunch of them with various states. We've got Washington, we've got South Dakota, you got one of the lovely ladies on there as well. We've got Rhode Island. I mean, we've got so many. There's hundreds of these here. Now, the way you make money with these is by lotting them together. Because if you tried to sell this one, for example, individually, you know, it would cost like someone $5 to buy this on eBay. It's not going to go for a lot of money. But if you lotted 9 different states together, then you could sell that for 30 bucks. Or if you made the lot a little bit bigger, let's say 15 of them with different states, then you're talking about probably about a $40 sale. So you could see here we have enough states that we could build some nice lots. So we have Alaska, again, there's a bunch of Washington, there's South Dakota, and there's different South Dakota ones as well. They're not all the same. Like this one has a dinosaur in it, so they're all a little bit different. So the guy wants $40 for the entire lot. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna buy the lot, and then I'm just gonna make them into you know, my own little lot, and I'll probably try to make it pretty standard at first. You know, like, you know, I'll include Montana, I'll include the same South Dakota one, I'll include the same Idaho one, and I'll just dig through them and, you know, sort them and figure out the best way to do it. This way, when one lot sells, I could just press sell similar and just, you know, ship out another lot. So, you know, I should make my money back on this within 1 or 2 lots, and then the rest of it will be a profit. So really cool. If you ever see these Imco stickers, again, look into picking them up if you could buy them in bulk. That's really the key, is a bulk purchase. So yeah, we're gonna snag these and build some lots together. It's gonna be a fun little profitable project. Look how many there are. I'd say there's probably about, oh my God, several hundred for sure. Nice pickup here. All right, here they are, all cleared out, and they're in this bag here, and put it in the primetime box. If you saw these, they did catch my eye. They're plush by claws. They're dinosaurs. Unfortunately, the Brontosaurus's neck is just shot. This one is still intact. It's from the 1990s, so it's not super old. It does have a string that you could hang it on from the ceiling, which is pretty cool. One of these previously sold for $22. It was an orange one. This one's pretty neat. There's not another one on the market right now. I'm thinking I might be able to do something with this one. Billy, what do you want on this guy right here?
$5.
All right. Okay. All right, well, I'm gonna go for this one for the $5 because while the orange one sold for $20 to $25, one in this color, which is the more traditional dinosaur color, this one sold for as high as $50, and there's not a current one on the market right now. So yeah, I'm gonna pick this one up. I love dinosaur stuff. And if you want to check out a new channel based on a friend of mine who is really into dinosaurs, check out my friend Fossil Forward Finds. He just started his channel, and give him a shout out and tell him that Primetime sent you his way. All right, this is a nice little box here that I found at the flea market. It has these nice little booklets in here from the 1980s. they're basically sci-fi and fantasy stories inside, and they have nice little illustrations inside as well. People just love this stuff. Every once in a while you might find one that had an author that, you know, became, you know, popular, famous in the future. So collectors look for these. So you can see, you know, they have the title up front. Some of them are thin, some of them are thicker. Here's another one right over here, Space and Time. So you could sell these as a lot, or you could sell them individually. This one's interesting here too. It's dedicated to weird fantasy poems. So and this one says issue number 2, but then on the inside here it said number 1. So they're not always consistent. This one came from 1989. So I'm gonna pick up this stack. At most they would be $2 a piece, maybe a little bit less. I was taking a look at these over here, these Labatt's Pilsner vinyl figures. They sell for about $30 a piece. So he wanted 15 a piece, 2 for 25. So there's just not enough meat on the bone for me to get that. You know, it would just require cleaning them up a little bit. But if they're a little bit lower, like, you know, $5 a piece, I would have picked them up. But for 25 for both, I'm gonna leave them here for someone else. But I do like this little stack here. So we're gonna grab this little lot. Really cool. All right, I want to show you something inside this booklet, because I always say check inside the books, because you never know what you're going to find inside. And I'll show you what historical item is in here in just a moment. But you could see this is really cool. It's a show bill for My Fair Lady. So it's a little booklet that you would get when you go to the theater, you know, similar to a playbill. And there's the back. I really like the advertising on it. The coloring is really nice. It displays well. A collector would love something like this. It's just really cool art on it as well. But when I looked inside and I got to the first page, look at this. This is really neat. So this is a ticket stub from RKO's Keith's Theater. And you can see it's dated 1966. And that's when this pamphlet came from. Now, you can't tell that from looking on the inside or on the outside. It doesn't have a specific date on it. So to match it up, you would need to look inside the booklet and see if you could find any clues to age, something that would say the year. And look right there, you have something that you could add in the listing, Spring 66 Fashion Forecast. So that links that with the ticket. All right, so the total price for all of these was $15. So $2.50 a piece, which I think is a great deal. So just wanted to tell you the bundle price there. All right, we're gonna head back to the flea market in just a moment for some more amazing finds and some amazing sales. But before I do, I have to show you something really cool about this item you just saw me pick up at the flea market that links it to the exact date in time, not just the year, to this ticket stub right here and the same place. So to zoom it in right there, you could see we have that date, May 9th, 1966, at RKO Theater. Now, here's the show bill, and let me open it up to a specific page here. I know I showed you the 1966 date earlier on that one page, but this one's even better. We got to zoom this in to get it in focus, but there's that date, May 5th to May 10th, 1966 at RKO Theater, exactly matching up to the ticket. It says that the Pompeian Players put this play on. They were a known team of playwrights in the area that put on plays back then. And I'm sure they were thrilled to put on a performance at the legendary RKO Keith Theater. Now, there were multiple RKO Keith Theaters in many cities, including some in the Northeast. But there was one in Syracuse on Salina Street. It opened in 1920 and it was closed in 1967. So that makes this pretty relevant because this represents one of the final performances at that theater. So this is something that should be of historical interest to someone who likes Syracuse history, Onondaga County history. There's an Onondaga County Historical Society. So there's people who are interested in this. Admittedly, it's a smaller group of people than someone who might be interested in something like Boston history or New York City history. So it's probably going to be a bit of a long tail item for me, but I listed it for $50 and we'll see what happens. It, might sell for less than that, but that's a good starting point for me, and we'll leave it there for a while and see what happens with it. This sort of reminds me in a way of the ticket stub that I found during one of my prior estate sale videos. This was years ago, but it was in a closet. There was a yearbook I was flipping through and I found a ticket stub to Coney Island right before it burned down. So it's always important to check those dates out, do some research on it, because those dates could add value to your item. And that ticket stub alone sold for $110 to a Coney Island historical collector who brought items like that around the country to teach people about Coney Island. So something like this is really interesting, and it just goes to show to always look through books because you never know what you might find in there. Just a tiny little thing like this could add a lot of value, because if all I had was this wouldn't sell for that much, maybe like a $10 item, but you add that ticket stub onto it and you could link it to the book, to the exact time frame and the exact place. Now you've got something. So always flip through those books and look for those extra goodies inside. So this is an interesting table here. I really love this art piece. Too bad I don't have a brick and mortar store to sell it in, because I definitely would have looked into picking it up. But this really jumped out to me. I was wondering if it would glow, because you see this, green coloring in here. So I have my black light with me, and check this out. Whoa, look at that baby glow. So that's really nice. Yeah, I didn't realize it glowed. How much is it?
It's $350.
$350.
Yeah.
Do you know who makes it?
I do. It's signed on the bottom. It is Murano.
It's Murano.
Oh yeah. It's
okay.
Signed Murano, Alberto Tossi, 1966, I believe.
Wow. Okay. Cool.
Really well-known maker.
Thanks. Appreciate it. And you can see the bubbles in there too. $350. I'm gonna pass on it for that. Let me know if you would have paid that. That's probably retail price, but I know people love to see things glow, so I figured I'd show this off for you. Let me take a look at the bottom, see what he was talking about. I better not break this, but let's see, check it out. Oh yeah, look at that. It is signed there on the bottom. $350. Interesting. 1966. Doesn't have the Murano sticker on there. So, I don't know. Glass experts weigh in. What do you think about this? Are things like this forged? I don't know. I don't know how I would go about verifying that. I mean, I guess I'd have to match it up to other signatures and stuff. Try to get a better close-up for you glass experts. So, weigh in. Let me know what you think about this. Oh boy. The music is playing for prime time. These are comic magazines I always look for. They really crack me up. These come from around the 1960s, and they could sell for 30, 35, 40 a piece. It could even sell in the 20s depending on condition and depending on which ones are currently on the market. But they're pretty funny. They have pretty racy pictures inside and cartoons, but like this. But it's nothing that is explicit nudity. So they do things that get close to the line, but they don't quite go over it. So guys love looking through magazines like this, and even if there is some creasing on the outside. I mean, it's not ideal, but guys will still pick this up. So these are $3 a piece for the men's magazines from the 50s and 60s. So this is one right here. This is one I've done very well with. If you ever see this title, for men only, it's really cool. I love how they're on the canoe there, and you've got the ladies paddling. The guys got the guns. It's just really cool. So there's cool stories inside, and just amazing art like this. And it's just amazing. Look at those eyes right there. So it is just incredible. Look at this. So we've got that. We've got HEP HEP October 1960. So that's a really cool cover as well. We'll do a little flip through inside. $3 a piece on these. So this is actually the first ever issue of Casanova from 1961, even though it has a 1960 date stamp on it. But it's kind of a cool like Twilight Zone cover right there. So really, really neat. And yeah, you can see here how they're blocking out, with the text, so that they don't show any nudity. But again, really neat first issue. This one sold for right around $30, so I'd value it somewhere between like 30 and 40 right now. Here's another one, Rogue for Men. So I'm gonna pick this one up as well. Always look at the side to make sure that there's not too much damage to the spine. But again, you've got a lot of model shots and humor inside here, and guys are just gonna pay up for this type of stuff. It's just people love to clip this stuff out and just flip through it, look at it. Here's another one here on the QT. Let's look through this one. See, this is where you got to be careful and flip through, because if it has stuff that's cut out of it, and this is what I was just talking about, people cut stuff out of these things, you got to be careful, because that's gonna damage the value. So I'm gonna leave that one here, and some of these other ones are a little too damaged right here, so I'm gonna leave it here. And then there's one underneath. You got to be careful with the themes that are on the covers. And if it's something that's just really socially inappropriate, I just leave it here. So you have to have some, at least me, you have to have some standards in terms of what it is that you're gonna sell. So some of the stuff I'm gonna leave here because it just doesn't meet my own standards for what I wanna have in my store. But this stuff is harmless fun. So I'm gonna pick these up. $3 a piece, so 3, 6, 9, 12. So that'll be another $15 for this lot. I don't know, maybe it'll give me a little bit of a deal on it, but we'll grab these. All right, well, this did not take long. The HEP magazine, and yes, the title is HEP. It's an old-fashioned term for hip, so it's a little bit before my time, 1960, but still. This magazine sold in less than 24 hours for $90. $90, that's right. And this is the key right here. The lovely ladies will always guide you in the right direction. Just listen a little bit, even for a hint of that saxophone music, and that will set you on the path to profits. So the interesting thing about this magazine is that compared to the other ones that I bought, this one is focused on African American culture. And those are actually worth a lot more than the standard magazines with the pinup girls from back in the day. Now, this one also focuses on true crime, which is helpful, but it does cover entertainment as well, and various other true stories. So you could see some examples of some of the titles here. And if you find specifically one of the HEP magazines, that as long as it's from the 1960s, even from the 1970s, you're probably looking at a $90 magazine. So make sure you don't underprice it, because you could just think, oh wow, maybe this is worth just $25 or something. No, this is a $90 magazine pretty much all day from this time frame. So definitely be on the lookout for it. There are some that are from the 1950s. Those might even be worth a little bit more. You might even be able to get $100 out of one of those. But hey, $3 into $90. Wow, I am very happy with that. What's the price on the Predators hat?
25.
25.
I take 20 for it.
Okay. It's interesting.
Yeah, I got it when they had the team up here in Manchester for the Amex
Okay.
about 3 years ago.
Did you get the signatures yourself on it?
Yes,
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I can wholeheartedly.
Okay. And whose signature is the
But
best one?
the big one is Pecorine.
Okay.
But
Where's that one on there? Do you know?
right, Pecorine.
Oh.
Right there.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. $20.
Yeah.
All right. All right, it is time to head over to Posterland to see another poster sale. And this time we have got the Stone Cold Steve Austin poster. Remember this one I showed you from that flea market video where I got that huge lot of posters? Well, this one just sold for $50. $50. So I'm going to do really well with this lot because I have 3 more of these posters, as you could see right here. So we'll just pop the next one up for $50, and it's a good sign now that I know this one sold for 50. And that's the bottom line, because Primetime said so. All right, I cannot wait to show you this sale because this is one of my favorite sales recently because of the story behind it. Now you could see me moving over to the posters here, and this sale comes from one of my recent poster scores at the flea market. And it's this one here. You could see me zooming in right there to the New York Knicks poster. Now I'm gonna flash it on the screen and tell you a little story about this. Now, first of all, just to cut through the suspense, this poster sold for full price, $70. And the great thing is that I have 5 more of them. Now, I don't list all 5 at the same time. I list them one at a time to establish rarity of the poster, because this poster has not come onto the market on eBay anytime in the last 3 years. Yet, someone sent me a message, I'll flash it on the screen, showing me some sale from, it was a non-eBay site showing that the poster had sold for $22.19. And this was in 2022. Now, they didn't point out that it wasn't on eBay. They didn't point out that it was in 2022, but they were trying to tell me that that's all the poster's worth, is $22.19, and then had the nerve to ask me what my best price was on it, which, why am I going to tell you that anyway if I have best offer on it on eBay? So I pointed out, I'll flash the message that I sent back on the screen, but I basically said, hey, listen, I was polite about it, but I said, that's not a sale on eBay, and that was in 2022, and there's only one available, doesn't come to market often, so feel free to make an offer. Now, this person did not make an offer. It wound up selling to someone else for $70, but I was very confident in that poster because, like I said, I grew up rooting for the Knicks, even though they weren't my favorite team, but I did root for them, and very familiar with them. And I just know, being from New York, how much someone would love a poster like that, and there would be someone that would pay up for it. Sure enough, it sold to someone in New York City, and I don't think I'm going to have a problem selling the other ones because there's just such great nostalgia to it. And, you know, those players on that team are amazing and, you know, legendary to New Yorkers. So moral of the story is, don't let somebody try to convince you that your item is worth less than what it actually is. If you have evidence that it definitely should be worth a lot more than what they're telling you. So oh my God, the stuff that you know, people try sometimes on eBay is just hilarious. So if you have a story like that, share it in the comment section. It just felt so good to sell that one for $70. So we're gonna get this one packed up and on its way, and get the next one listed. So oh my gosh, and I'm glad to show you the follow up on some of these sales, because you know, you could see how these are turning into great profit, and hopefully it gives you some inspiration on some things that you could go out and find. Oh, and speaking of posters, in the last video I showed you one of the Western posters that sold, that Roy Rogers one. Well, I did mention that there were 2 other posters I was going to tell you about that sold. I put a little message on the bottom of the screen, and then I forgot to show you the 2 posters. No one said anything about it, so I don't even know if anyone noticed, but it was John Wayne's Wyoming Outlaw. That one sold for $60, and then John Wayne's 3 Texas Steers, that one sold for $45 to the same buyer. So that's great, because that reduces shipping costs, makes things much easier. So over $100 in poster sales with those 2, combined with the Roy Rogers poster sale. Now I'm in nice profit already, and I still have 4 other posters left from that lot. So just goes to show you could do really well with posters. All right, we're gonna head back over to comic book land. I'm gonna take off this long box lid, and I'm gonna show you a complete 19 issue set of a pretty obscure comic book series called Bad Company. Now, this is a futuristic sci-fi war series that has zombies in it, and a lot of, like, you know, fighting and stuff like that, you know, war-based and stuff. So the couple reasons why this sold for $50. One reason is that it's a complete set. The second reason actually has to do with this guy right here, Peter Milligan. Very, very famous comic book writer. So that's a name to look out for when you're looking for, you know, and looking at comic books, looking for comics to source. Now, another thing is that this particular series had its origin in British comics, even though these particular ones were published in the United States. And the reason why that's important is that I offer my items for sale internationally. So I'm going to give you a general tip here. It doesn't matter if you sell comics or not, but offering items internationally could really help, because if you have something that most people don't have, and there's someone in another country that desires it, and you're one of the few people or only people that sell it internationally, you're going to make that sale, and the international buyer is going to pay up for you. Often will pay the full price of what you're asking. So the buyer here is actually from Ireland, and Ireland is not too far away from England. It's right across the way. So I'm pretty sure that British link is what helped make the sale for this series, and it going to somebody in Ireland. So, you know, just reinforcing doing international shipping, it definitely paid off for this comic series. All right, so we've talked many times here on the channel about selling complete comic sets, but what do you do when you run into a title like Batman Legends of the Dark Knight, which has over 200 issues? You can see the issue number right there, number 2, number 3, and I'll just keep flipping. You could see the issues as I'm talking. But if it's not practical to come into possession of the entire set, what do you do with the ones that you have? Well, you try as much as possible to form as long of a consecutive run as you can. And so what you're going to see here is the first 55 issues of this series. And I'll tell you why this series is popular in a moment. In addition to some random Batman Legends of the Dark Knight issues after that. So wound up being a total of 61 that I was able to cobble together. As you know, I love using the word cobble. So someone's got to use that in the comments. So they wound up selling for $120, which I'm very happy with, because these are really just leftovers from a big comic book collection that I purchased. So Batman Legends of the Dark Knight, this series came out in 1989. And if you were around like I was in 1989, then let me know in the comments if you were and if you remember. But when the Batman movie came out in 89, Tim Burton, the craze that was going on in the country about Batman was insane. Everybody was into it. Everybody. I remember going to the movies and watching it with my friends. I had so much Batman merchandise and memorabilia. I grew up loving Batman from the Adam West series, from the 60s, 70s, Burt Ward. I just absolutely love Batman. So this series was popular because it came out during that time frame in 89. And then it just continued after that. The other reason that this series was popular is because, unlike a lot of other Batman titles, which just had a continuous story arc, for long periods with the same team, Batman Legends of the Dark Knight did something different. They had shorter story runs, like 5 issues, for example, with a particular team of artists and writers, and then they switch it up with a new team with a new storyline. And a lot of the storylines were pretty dark, and that was something that kind of separated it as well, kind of like along the lines of the Frank Miller Batman storylines. So for these reasons, Batman Legends of the Dark Knight is going to be popular for a long time. So something that you see and you could wind up grabbing it in bulk and have a nice consecutive run like this. And there's that Joker cover right there, which is very popular. You could do well with them. So I'm very happy with this sale. We'll just show the rest of these for completeness. And there's number 55 right there. And then we've got a few random ones. So we got 58, 59, 60, 61, 63, and then I had a random one here, 174. And that's it. So there we go. Pack them up. Nice $120 sale. All right, well, that about does it for this one. I continue to be very happy with what I am finding at the flea market. It's working out perfectly for my schedule, and I'm glad to hear how many people are liking the flea market videos. And I was surprised to see how many people say, wow, I never realized there were so many cool items that you could find at flea market. So yeah, if there's one in your area and you haven't checked it out yet and gone sourcing there, definitely go check it out. I know a bunch of people have started going to my local flea market more because they've seen me making these videos. So yeah, they're gonna pop up more and more, especially as the warm months start coming around. Springtime's right around the corner, summertime. I mean, those are the best times to go to the flea markets, but also, make sure in the winter months, you're not knocking that out as a potential place for sourcing. In fact, this is the first year I ever went to the flea market in the winter time for sourcing. I knew it was open, but I really just didn't feel like going. And now I'm really happy that I decided to go. So yeah, keep that open as an option. Lastly, thank everybody who wished me a happy birthday. The big 50 just hit it recently, so officially 50. And I was cracking up seeing some of the comments. I think my favorite one was, you better start becoming friends with ibuprofen, because you're going to be seeing a lot of it soon. So that one pretty much cracked me up. So I like the jokes. Keep them coming. Feel free to put the the old man jokes down in the comment section, but I still feel young and I still think young, and that is absolutely, I think, the key to keep it on going and keep it on chugging along. So that's what I plan on doing with the channel and with the reselling business, and I thank all of you for coming along with the ride. Speaking of chugging along, let's go check out Daisy, see how she's chugging along, and I'll see you back at the next one, everyone. Oh, there she is. She looks like she got caught with her paws in the snack jar. Daisy got a haircut. Look at you with the little yellow bow tie in your hair, looking all diva-ish. Aw, Daisy, how are you? Look at those eyes. We could see Daisy's eyes much better now that she has a haircut. She's like two different dogs when she goes for her spa treatment and then when she becomes fluffy Shih Tzu. So right now, she is really enjoying life because Mrs. Primetime, even though you see the snow outside, it's not quite spring yet, but Mrs. PT did some advanced spring cleaning with Daisy's area right here. So she has all of her toys situated and redistributed, you know, because some could, you know, get pushed down to the bottom there. So she likes to recycle them. So Daisy's very happy right now. Right, Daisy? Oh, don't shake. She shakes a little bit because Miss Primetime just left. So she always gets nervous and looks out the window to see where Mrs. Primetime went down the street. So that's her little routine. And so that's always a good opportunity for me to do a little bit of filming with Daisy. So don't worry, Daisy. Daddy stay with you and you'll be okay. She just gets nervous when her mommy leaves her. So she's so attached to her, like right at the hip. It's crazy. But I hope you liked the video and, you know, the magazine score and scores and just so many cool items. Once again, flea market really paying off, and I hope that people are enjoying seeing, you know, the combination of the sourcing with solds later on, you know, in subsequent videos, sometimes even within the same video. So you get both things now with this newer style of video. So hope you're enjoying it. Let me know what your favorite item was down below, and we'll catch you back at the next one, everyone. Take care.